And we're recording. Cool. So look, another iteration of a plan. Thanks for giving this feedback last time that we need to pivot off like new customer acquisition and go direct to consumer. So that's what this plan is all about. And ignore the Nevada and Arizona tests. That's my fault. I should have pulled that off. But this is specifically direct to consumer. So I'm gonna hop through this slide because we've talked about it before. We do a lot of stuff. More importantly, we walked away from the last meeting with the challenge is to increase direct consumer dollars, specifically like out of the gates, maybe sticking with consumers that are a little closer to the shipping center out of the Pacific Northwest, right, to reduce operational costs a little bit. And from a strategic perspective, we have a three-pronged approach. Number one, as you have been, target consumers that are searching right now. So take over that part of the paid search. Number two is target people, as we talked about last time, that have recently visited or vacationed in your area, and while they were there, enjoyed all the fantastic seafood you have to offer. And now that they're back in Sheboygan, New Jersey, where it's not so hot, we can give them the opportunity to start ordering at home. And then third, use social media channels that we think are a good fit for your ideal audience. So those are kind of the three-pronged strategy. And then in terms of an outcome, now it's a little more specific. So what I'm targeting, and I guess, Dan, I'm going to focus this on you a little more, or maybe Bill. We want to target kind of an ECPA or a cost per acquisition of about $35 per person. And having done research, it's kind of right in line with where you guys are as an industry. But any questions about that? And then I'll kind of show you the strategy itself.
No.
Yeah, no questions.
Dig it. All right, let's dive in. So solution time. I'm going to make this really efficient for you guys because we've talked about this a couple times. Geofencing, if you guys remember, is a digital invisible fence that can go over a location, and I can get either banner ads or videos to people, or rather their phones, that have been to these places. And so one thing we can do, as we talked about last time, is I can roll back the hands of time up to a year. And if you guys want to know how we do that, it's like a 90-second explanation. If you're ever interested, I'll be happy to expand. But we want to grab people that we know have been to hotels, resorts, and casinos, not in the western part of the country, sometime in the last year. And I want to deliver you via like banner ads and videos to their devices now that they're at home, with an opportunity to, hey, why don't you have us ship to you the exact stuff that you're enjoying out here? So what I did is, and this is a preliminary list, like we can curate this a little deeper, but I pulled a bunch of like Ritz-Carlton's, casinos, Sonesta resorts, like what I thought were kind of higher end resorts. And I'm totally happy again, Bill. You give me some places I didn't think of, let's go. You just give me addresses or names of certain types of resorts or something. I'm totally cool to hit them. But essentially, I want to roll the hands of time back a year for all the consumers that spent time on these properties. And I want to start delivering to them on their devices now, ideally video content, but I kind of want to mix it up between display ads and videos. So they know, hey, when you were here, you may have had this premium product. We have it for you right now. Like, click here now. So we got to figure out the messaging piece. But as you guys know, like we can have multiple messages going to these same groups of people, Dan, and we can kind of A/B or split test which is driving, more direct response, which is ending up in a conversion. But over time, we can add or remove locations here, guys, or you can tell me you totally missed these 3 or 4, like bonehead, why didn't you pull these in? I'm sitting in Colorado, so I may be missing a little bit of context there, but tactic one, let's reach these vacationers, go back in time, hit them with ads saying, hey, you should be eating this way at home. Questions about tactic one? I know, Bill, this is one in particular that you seem to like.
No, I like this idea. This is just a sample of what you've got.
Yeah, this is me. Seriously, I spent about 20 minutes and no more than that, because I wanted to come with something, but I spent about 20 minutes and I just started Googling like the high-end resorts and casinos, that kind of stuff, and Oregon, California, kind of area. And I came up with this list. And we could start with this list or we could scrub this list and you could give me better information. But these are higher end resorts and hotels that people have been staying at for the last year.
Yeah, there's a lot more that we could have on this list.
Agreed. Now, just keep something in mind. I probably could have put 400 resorts and hotels on the list, Bill. However, within marketing, there's reach and frequency, right? I want to reach people, but I need to reach them with enough frequency that they see you with enough repetition, they do something about it. And based upon the budget I have for this overall campaign, I don't want to lean out things so much that we're reaching more properties, but fewer people with frequency, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm not boxing you into like 45 properties, but I wouldn't personally go above probably 50 with a budget like this, or I think we're going to suffer so much in frequency, it's not going to benefit you the way you want.
Yeah, it's just like you've got several of the casino hotels there in Reno and different places. Like do you know JT Ashley's, for instance, in Reno, and those I've not heard of them.
All
And
good.
it's
And we can curate the list. So don't focus too much on the individual properties because
okay.
we can like really zero in on the ones that you want to reach. But from a tactical perspective, if you like what I'm saying, which is let's talk to people that have been in the
Tactically,
area.
I like what you're saying. The
Good.
list I would probably look at uh just cleaning the list up a little bit.
Cool. So absolutely, we can take time to do that. So any questions on the tactic itself? I mean, this is designed to get people to click on these ads and come directly to your website to sniff around at your inventory and start looking around. Will some people buy from there? Yeah. But it's really designed to get them to know you, click the site, get retargeted, which is another part of the campaign, and get followed around with other ads. But any questions about this leg?
Is
No.
there any way to qualify those folks? So, I mean, if it's coastal Oregon and there's, multiple catch your own crab places in that town, I might assume that people going there either had crab or that's the reason that
Right.
they were traveling.
Mhm.
Um, I know these are just for example, but if you go to Reno, I don't think you're going there for the Dungeness crab. So
No,
Right.
even
you're
if there were places on the coast that we could, uh, I don't know, somehow correlate that yes, this person, uh, may have been there for seafood or at least interested in the culinary aspect of, travel and things like that. Or are we
Well,
just
and
kind of
I
going
was
on
even
the
thinking,
location?
Dan, that we service a lot of the hotels along the coast as well too.
Mhm.
Then our messaging could be while you were visiting the hotel, we are we supply the hotel and we can supply you as well.
Take us home
Uh,
with you, like 100%.
take this home with you, those kind of things. Right now there's a cruise line that is doing uh, kind of delivery, and what they're saying is you went on the trip, would you like the same seafood, would you like those kind of things and stuff, and they've got a relationship with the company, and that company is sending those out direct to the thing, and I think the cruise line's getting a little kickback and stuff
See
on
that?
all those.
I love that. So the more you expand on those things, Bill, the better I can make the strategy. Because if that made sense, I could find out essentially like the docking and loading stations of major cruise lines and drop a geofence over that. So as people are hanging out, like, because I've been on a cruise and you spend a lot of latent time sitting there waiting to onboard. You're going through this process and that process. What are people doing while they're standing around? They're on their phones. So we could just
Mhm.
sit there and geofence cruise lines like where they're onboarding essentially and start hammering them with messaging too. It's about where are people spending time and how can we reach them? Now to you,
And
Dan.
we're
Uh-huh.
supplying several of the cruise lines as well, so
Yep.
that works. um, and we just don't have that one relationship where we're paying them back to do that. Well, we can go around and we can take those same customers that were looking at it and they can have a choice now.
Yeah, you're just siphoning off. Like that's great. Dan,
So Eric and
yes.
Bill, would it be something similar? I'm going to throw something out there as an example. You tell me if I'm on base or not. For example, there are cruise lines that stop in Astoria, okay? And then they go to Vancouver, they stop in Astoria, they go to the Bay Area and on down to San Diego kind of thing, just make that trip. We would target those kinds of folks
Yeah,
who
Yeah.
take those cruises. Yeah.
absolutely. But rather than targeting, and I don't know Astoria, so I'm going to kind of speak from the hip here, but rather than targeting the entire community, if we can get the address of the dock itself
Oh,
where the
yeah,
ship,
yeah,
then
yeah.
that's
I
what
was
we're going to
actually,
hit.
yeah. I was thinking
Um,
about the cruise line itself, and targeted that particular route that they take.
and guys, like if on in that vein, if there were like in Colorado, people come here and they go on horseback for 3 days and they have like a guide that takes them back and they do all that. I would suspect that in your world on the coast, there's like deep sea fishing excursions or maybe bigger outfits that have multiple boats that take tourists out. We could geofence those. I mean, if I'm going to spend time on a boat deep sea fishing and I go back home to Texas, it'd be great for me to order the kind of stuff I was trying to catch in the ocean. So all these things are possibilities. And that's the nice part about this plan is it's kind of gooey. We can add and remove things as we see fit as we get more intelligent with the design.
Yeah.
But back to what you said, Dan, really quick. You asked if there's a better way to qualify someone who spent time at a location to see were they there because they wanted to go crabbing or were they there for some other reason. And the truth is with geofencing, there's no behavioral component at all. It is just simply if a consumer was here, is that a place that you want to message to them because they were there, yes or no? And that's what we're dealing with here. If you wanted to try to grab people that are like foodies and that kind of stuff, they're just different tactics for that. But I actually think the next tactic is going to kind of give you a glimmer of what you're looking for. But before I go there, are there any other questions about the geofencing piece, aside from like different locations we can figure out? Anything else you guys want to know? All right, moving on. It's okay. If you have a question, pull me back. Pinterest. I mentioned Pinterest, I think, the other day. Guys, Pinterest is 73% women. The entire platform is 73% women. Women are going to Pinterest to get inspiration. It's pin my interest. I'm going there because I want to know what dinner could look like, what my house could look like. You know, how do I create arts and crafts with my kids? My wife uses Pinterest like gangbusters. It's very common. And because I know that women tend to make a lot of the household decisions with respect to nutrition, to me, it just makes sense to reach women in Pinterest. Now, beyond the fact there's already a wall of women that are interested in nutrition, you can further target people within Pinterest that are interested in certain things. And I've already looked into the back end of Pinterest, and I know that there are segments here. I can target women in Pinterest that have said, I like seafood, and I'm interested in seafood, that I'm interested in frozen seafood, seafood salad. I thought diet and nutrition as a category. People that are interested in diet and nutrition, I want them saying seafood. Omega-3s, there's actually a category in Pinterest of women that are interested in omega-3s, which, as you know, is seafood. How about people that are women interested in Mediterranean salads? And I also thought because seafood has such a good benefit on the complexion and skin, maybe we target women in Pinterest that are focused on skincare and aging with your products. And can we have different messaging here? Absolutely. Should we? 100%. Like we should be saying very specific things to women that are in Pinterest looking for how can I have a good idea to be inspired by something. I want to use video here. I think it makes sense to reach these women with video and tell them a little bit of a story. I don't know if you guys already have video that talks about the anti-aging benefits of eating seafood. I don't know if you have a video talking about the benefits of getting your omega-3 from salmon. But I think it'd be wise to maybe produce that content and let it get directly to mom who honestly gives a crap about that. While she's in a social media environment, she's looking to be inspired. It's just kind of the perfect place to reach them. The goal here is to get women to leave Pinterest and come to Pacific Seafood. I want them to click away from that social media environment. And I want them to click to you to look at all the different products and services that you provide. Questions about Pinterest and the marketing strategy?
None here.
Does it make sense? I like the Facebook piece. There's nothing wrong with Facebook, but this is a little more refined. Like, I think this just makes more sense. So if you have a question, again, pull me back. We can come back. Oh, Bob, what you got?
Sorry. So Eric, I mean,
yeah,
obviously you've been, I mean, there's these strong benefits to be able to, to eating seafood and particular things, whether omega-3 or whatnot. Is there, and I'm gonna say I believe the answer is going to be no, but if we draw them over to the site, right, can there be an educational opportunity there that also acts in tandem with buying the product? Okay, so see what I'm saying? Education is influence, right? And if we can educate, we influence, that makes the buy easier.
So to that point, and you were looking for a no from me, you're going to get a yes. Let's say the group of
screw up in reverse.
Yeah, right. I'm going to say the group of women because it's going to be women most likely that like omega-3. Well, we could create a very specific ad, guys, that goes only to the women that really like omega-3, and then the ad itself, can say whatever we want, but click here now to learn about the benefits of omega-3. We're happy to provide to you and your family, something along those lines. You click it and it takes them to a content page, and maybe you guys have content that talks about the benefits of omega-3 and maybe links directly to your products that are highest in omega-3, like whatever that looks like. So there is a bit of an educational component. You could 100% do that. Does it create an extra click for the user to go from, oh, content, let me read it, to the product? Absolutely. But I think if you're reaching like a mom who's already focused on nutrition, who's already focused on omega-3, she takes the time out of the day to click that and come to your site, she's probably going to read a little something. And the likelihood that you can pull her along to buy a product if you provide some good content, I think is higher. So I think that's a good idea. And could you do that? 100%. I haven't been on your site deeply enough, guys, and I feel ignorant saying this, but it's true, to see if you guys have like recipes. Because if you did, man, wouldn't it be great to target the women who like Mediterranean salads with other seafood salad recipes and a page that they could go to for like other recipes, and then links to different products that like fulfill the ingredients list? All these things can be done. And it doesn't cost more. It's just building separate ads that go to different people that click through to different places on your website. So we can work in tandem to help you kind of beef up content, to Bob's point, to have like a better place for someone to land than just click here now to buy product. Questions about that, though, because we can nuance this. It can be very cool. Any questions about Pinterest? We'll move on.
Nope, no questions.
Moving on. Okay. Paid search. You guys are doing it. We just want to take it over for the direct consumer. It works exactly the same you guys are doing it now, but I do have some things that we're going to recommend that we would do a little bit differently. And they are this. So first thing that we would recommend is we would want to add conquesting keywords. As I mentioned before, that's going to be competitors. So if there are other, seafood vendors, providers, distributors in the United States that you're focused on, let's add their name. So any consumer that knows them well enough to type them into a search, they get you and your competitor, and you're going to absolutely steal some leads from them. Frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if you pick up some new clients, not even direct to consumer stuff, but individual like restaurateurs or hotels that are searching for the seafood provider they're familiar with, and all of a sudden they see you and they pull you in. Like it's very likely going to happen. You had mentioned, Bill, that you were comfortable maybe even using some of your clients that are buying from you directly and using their name. Why not? Like if a consumer is going to one of the people that you provide to get seafood and now they come directly to you, there's no downside to you on that one. It's layer one of a change. Layer two is we would want to break out your products into separate campaigns, and each campaign having a bunch of keywords within them. It's just a more refined way to build out the SEM strategy, and it'll allow us to better optimize or improve the campaign over time if we do that. So, you have your branded terms, which are people typing your name already. I already know Pacific Seafood, and so I'm using that to pull you in. You have the competitors' names, as I just mentioned. Then you have like fish as an overall category, and within that, you have a whole bunch of the different types of fish, and different versions of keywords for each type of fish. Shellfish, we break into a category. You have your curated assortments. The AI is, there's a couple things we'd be doing with paid search. One of them is AI related. It's called Spark. And I don't want to get into it too much, but essentially we'd have two things going, guys. Number one would be your traditional paid search that, Dan, you've been running and you're familiar with, and we would do that with these changes. But at the same time, we would use Spark, which is an AI that pulls in 5 or 6 different Google products like YouTube and Google Maps and Gmail and all kinds of cool stuff. And we tell it what we want. We tell this AI, we want people that are interested in purchasing seafood, go find some. And that's what it does. It focuses on the same geography as the SEM campaign. But what it'll do, for example, is if Kevin here searches for like wild caught salmon delivered to my door, and he does the search, and let's say he picks one of your competitors and not you, AI will pick up on that. And it'll start delivering more content to that person that didn't pick you in the search to try to get them to pick you next time. It'll also kind of fill the gaps because you're not going to be able to be pulled up on every search in which someone's looking for like mussels to be delivered, because you won't have the budget for that to spend, which is fine. We're not there yet. And so it's going to pick up on a lot of people that are searching for different things, and that you might not even pull up in the search at all. It'll start attacking them with little YouTube videos. It creates all kinds of fun content. We also would want to make sure that we're connected with everything on the back end, like connect with everything e-commerce related, Shopify, like anything that we can to measure everything we can. And again, we're really looking to try to achieve an eCPA of $35. Questions on the paid search piece? I know you're familiar with it, Dan, so I didn't want to get too under the hood necessarily, but
with the campaigns, how would you balance the spend on each of those? Or would it be what delivers better?
exactly. We're going to be really looking at what's delivering, because the goal is the goal. The goal is revenue generation. And so we're going to be looking at all those individual campaigns to figure out which one or ones are working the best. And we'll be optimizing towards that and shifting budget towards that. Interestingly, and I assume you knew this, but when we got access to your back end in Google Analytics, do you guys know what the actual #1 e-commerce driver is direct to consumer for you guys? It's email.
Yeah.
Email actually is your best driver, which I found interesting. And not to be a horse's patoot, but that was in the other campaign that we had for you. So I just mentioned that because there's going to come a time in the future, if we work together, that I'm going to inject email back into the conversation, because it's clearly a good driver of revenue for you guys. But any other it's a fair question in terms of like shifting budget between campaigns. Any other question relative to the SEM piece?
I don't think so.
Okay, moving on. Pull me back if you need me. Retargeting. So we just want to follow people with ads, right? We want to follow them saying, thanks for sniffing out Pacific Seafoods, or maybe we want to mention certain things. Like one thing we can do, guys, is if you wanted to, we could have different retargeting messages based upon where people went on the site. So we can do things like there's a general retargeting message pretty much on all pages that says, thanks for checking out Pacific Seafoods. We hope you bought something. If not, click here to come back. Or like the whole like heart messaging, thanks for checking us out. We're giving back to like breast cancer awareness funds, like that kind of stuff. We can also place a pixel on an uncompleted shopping cart, so that as mom clicks through Pinterest and comes to Pacific and starts dumping a bunch of stuff in her shopping cart and abandons the cart as people do, we can recognize, ooh, that cart was abandoned, but there's a retargeting pixel there. So kick an ad to that consumer that says, thanks for starting your journey. Click here now to finish your purchase, and it'll pull them back in. And we can also have a different ad that recognizes when someone completed a purchase, because likely when the purchase is complete, Dan, there's like a thank you page that pops up. Hey, thanks for your purchase today. So we could just put a pixel on that page and thank them for completing your purchase. Thank you so much for the completion of your purchase. I don't know if you want to do this, Bill, but you could say, here's 5% off your next purchase next month, or some kind of an incentive to pull them along, or no incentive at all. And you can just thank them for the purchase, tell 3 friends, like whatever you want to do. But we can follow people with kind of unique messaging based upon how they do or do not purchase from you on the site. Any questions about that? And keep in mind, guys, if you like the plan, and let's say you love the plan enough that you move forward, one of the first things we're going to want to do is have a meeting with a creative director on our end that will help to kind of shape what the ads can say in Pinterest, separately from like retargeting, separately, from geofencing. And we do the creative design at no charge unless you want to pass us ads to like recreate, but we can talk about the messaging. We can talk about how everything can be unique. But any questions on the retargeting piece?
Dan, aren't we doing the retargeting right now with a customer who abandoned their cart, those things?
For email subscribers. So yeah, people that are existing customers or people who are signed up for our marketing emails will get that follow-up.
So Eric, this is different than that then?
Yeah, this is everyone else.
Okay.
Pretty much. Yeah, which is great. Yep. You're going to message with tons of people you're not talking to right now that are spending time out of their day to come to your website.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we used to do this with ad roll, but we had really bad returns. So
got it. Okay.
That.
Any questions on the retargeting piece, guys? All right. So boop. Remember, creative will handle it. Very rarely that we have to charge a client for the creative unless it's like curating actual video from the ground up. Custom strategy for you guys. Hope you appreciate it. Everything that I'm expressing in this strategy, we do. It's not passed to another company, so that's good for you because more money goes to the media than to line pockets. Third bullet point, like we're absolutely going to make recommendations how to improve the campaign, whether it's, hey, let's try a different ad. Let's drop these casinos that Bill had never heard of because they don't seem to be doing anything, and let's pick up these 3 locations instead. And then the last bullet point really says, like, we want to meet with you on a regular basis to talk about how things are going, and we don't want to talk about clicks and impressions. We want to talk about CPA, ROAS, like, are you getting a return on your ad spend? What did you see in revenue in this last month? And the beautiful part is we'll have the data too. So we're going to be tapped into Google Analytics. It'll be a completely transparent conversation as to how things are going.
So
Any
Eric,
questions?
we'll be able to pivot pretty quickly if we discover, for example, one particular tactic isn't working. Let's give this other one a try, or maybe we want to be able to tweak it slightly here or there, right?
100%. Yeah, I mean,
Right.
we're going to know
Okay.
very quickly, Pinterest sucks, or Pinterest is great, but the Mediterranean salad segment is doing bupkis. Like, we're getting nothing from that. Let's unplug it and let's plug in long distance running enthusiasts who need a lot of fish in their diet. Let's try that. So yes, we can very quickly pivot and tinker with different things. Any other questions? It's a good one. Let's look at numbers, gentlemen. So look, I kind of broke this strategy up a little bit because I knew that you have 2 peak months coming, right? November and December of this year. And so we're coming in hotter in those peak months, right? We're coming in at 8,200 for the 2 biggest months of the year. And the lion's share of the budget is going straight to paid search. Okay, so just all transparency. I am talking to people that have spent time in like resorts and hotels and casinos and all that kind of stuff. In fact, you can see the numbers here. It's about 110,000 ads. They're going to go directly to the phones of people that have been spending time at these resorts and hotels in the area. And now they're back home and they're going to start getting video and ad content from you guys basically saying, hey, now that you're home, you can still have that fish. Like, we can deliver it directly to your front door. So that's about 100,000 plus times a month that you're going to get seen by people who've been in the area. Pinterest, I'm going to get 286 essentially moms, women in Pinterest who like omega-3 and Mediterranean salad and seafood to leave that environment while they're hanging out in Pinterest, click away from that and come to Pacific Seafoods, and we'll see how many we can get to order. Retargeting doesn't have a number on it. You know why? Because we're going to retarget as many people as we need to, because retargeting is in the same concert as the rest of the instruments here, and retargeting knows that we're trying to get people to purchase. So retargeting is going to be allocated to devices that we see have the highest likelihood of converting. And then the search engine marketing piece, I don't have a number of volume for you yet. I'm not exactly sure what that looks like, but I know that we can hit an eCPA of 35 bucks and it can be extremely profitable. But I'm less focused on, hey guys, I'm going to get you 100 clicks or I'm going to get you 300 clicks because you don't care about that. And frankly, I don't either. Like, it makes less sense for me to say, I'm going to get you 300 clicks for the 6,000 bucks than it does for me to say, I don't care how many clicks I get. I'm going to make you more than 6,000 bucks in paid search. It's going to more than pay for itself. And I don't care if I get 20 clicks for that to happen or 100. What's more important is that you actually have the revenue coming in that you want to see. So this is just the first 2 months. And then you flip off the first 2 months and we go to a lower budget because it's not, and hopefully I got the months right. It's not your peak season. So we're saying January through May for that 5 months, we're going to bring the budget down, bring it down to 3,000 bucks in paid search. That's the main change. Everything else pretty much stays the same because all year round, I want to be talking to people that visited these different locations, and all year round, I want to be talking to women in Pinterest that like seafood and omega-3s and all that kind of stuff. All year round, I want to be retargeting people. The difference is I want to spend less on the paid search in your down months. And then we pick it back up. Oops, sorry. Oh, that's funny. I got the 5. That's right. So this is then June through October to round out the year. We kind of ramp back up into peak months, and so the spend goes back up to kind of match the need of the markets. So a little bit lower in your off months, a little bit higher in your on months. It's consistent with the budgets that you guys gave us, but this is the strategy, guys. I'm fascinated to see what you guys think.
Curious.
Yeah.
Do you think that the fact that it's going to be, busy holiday season coming off of Black Friday straight into, Christmas shopping and all of that, is that time period going to skew the results that we may have in, non-promotional times?
So in other words, if I'm hearing what you're saying, will we see kind of a false positive because you would have had a higher volume of business at that time anyway?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe, but I mean, more importantly, if more fish are swimming through the stream right now, I want the biggest net to catch the most fish possible. And I'm not going to be as focused with whose hands are holding the net, is that the net is catching as much fish as possible. So yeah, if you're going to naturally see an increase in volume in this time, then you're going to see an increase in the SEM's output, but the SEM should be there. I mean, whether you're doing it or we're doing it, same, like it should be in place.
Could I ask, do you have historical data for this period of time? I mean, in other words, there's a place or way for us to be able to do some basic measurements.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
From
Can we
2020
get
at
those for you
least.
then, or?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Good question. What other questions you got? And I
So,
suspect, I was
yeah,
going to say, Bill, I imagine you're going to pivot back around and show this to others again. The sales force.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to show this, not to the sale force, a different group of people, but
Right.
I mean, what do we think this is going to deliver for us in terms of sales?
Oh boy. Well, I know your average conversion up to this point is about $200 per customer that's purchasing from you online. I know that. I can't answer that. I don't want to give you a bad answer, Bill. I'll tell you what, like I'm hesitant to throw a number out there because I'll tell you, and I'm sure Dan is going to agree with this part. The first month is going to be a bit of a testing period. It will be. Even though you guys have already been running SEM, we're going to be taking it over and kind of picking up where you left off, adding the things that I mentioned there, conquesting and that kind of stuff. But it's still going to be tinkering in month one. It always will be when you're changing from one vendor to the next. It's probably month 2 and 3 that are really going to pick up, and we should see a lot of conversions. So I don't have a number that I'm comfortable giving you. I'm not going to lie to you by just telling you something. Do I think it'll pay for itself? Yeah, absolutely. I think it'll pretty easily do that, but I don't want to falsify a number. Hey, you're going to get 10,000 month one back. I think that'd be a bad business practice.
Okay.
What other
Dan,
questions do you guys have?
any other questions? Is this something where, you've broken it out to different periods for a year?
Yeah.
Is this something that can be engaged with, and we see how it goes those first 2 months, and then, use these as option?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, in essence, Bill, at the bottom of the slide, you see both parties have the right to cancel 90 days after the start of the campaign with 30 days written notice. And even though this is kind of broken into 3 little chunks, it's still just an annual marketing strategy. So let's say you greenlit this thing and we started, probably wouldn't be November, let's say November 15th or something. Once you've hit the 3-month with us, or 3-month mark, if you're unhappy, you can cut bait. There's no penalty. There's no, fees or anything. We're going to, of course, ask, hey, what did we do wrong? What can we fix? Like any organization should, but your contractual obligation really only extends to 90 days. And really the reason is I don't want a hostage client. I don't want you pissed because what we're doing sucks and now you're tied to it and you're answering to other people. That's a bad way to do business too. So it's a 90-day commit.
Okay. Dan, does Katie have access to pull who our hotel customers are along the western coastal United States?
I wouldn't believe so. Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay, I just didn't know if she had access in the cube or something like that.
Possibly, I
I'm
can
sure
ask her.
we can find somebody who
Yep.
can do that.
Here's a question. This just popped in my head, Bill, but it's all of a sudden it occurs to me it could be kind of relevant. Would it be stupid or smart to potentially geofence like I think it's the naval base down in San Diego? We have all these guys that maybe came from the Midwest and they get really accustomed to eating seafood as they're down there in San Diego, and then they get shipped off to other places, which may not even be in the US, which is part of why my head's like, eh. But would it make sense to hit all of them as they leave and go get stationed in other places to get the seafood shipped to them where they happen to be?
Probably not, because
Okay.
we're part of the exchange, the military exchange. So
Ah.
they have access to get it cheaper than what we would have on our e-commerce site.
Okay. Bummer. What about, okay, and I'm just reaching, but sometimes it's good to reach. What about like veterans associations where I'm no longer in the military, so I don't have that direct access anymore, but now maybe I start getting ads from Pacific Seafoods as that reminder, hey, remember when? I don't know. I'm reaching a little bit, but I'm just thinking.
I was thinking more in time in terms of you got all these people stationed in say for example San Diego from all over the United States. Wouldn't they like to be able to ship a Pacific Seafood package home to mom and dad for Christmas, kind of a
Oh,
thing.
that's a different way to spin that.
Yeah. But again, I have to defer to what it is that they can already get and how they fulfill it, already from some of the programs you have there, Bill.
Right.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking on the holidays, is the same thing, is pushing people with the opportunity to send loved ones and family members a box of seafood.
That's an enormous audience right there.
And
But
guys, we could just temporarily drop a geofence just for the holiday season over the military bases and have a temporary message to them that clicks through to
yeah,
a
but I
temporary
don't think
page.
it's the military bases, because I don't know that they've got the same disposable income
Okay.
necessarily to do that, or would be thinking necessarily that direction.
Mhm.
And then if we were to engage on something, Dan, how many assets, how far along do you think we are on the assets to build this stuff out? Or you guys, Eric, said that you would do the creative on this, then
Yeah,
writing stuff up?
Yeah, if it's video work, we can build out like montage videos and that kind of stuff. If you give us images, if you guys have like video footage that is already created, you need to just edit it down to something shorter. We can do that at no cost. It's if we have to create something the ground up that we would have a cost associated with that.
I'm just thinking more the messaging and stuff around the holiday gift giving and considering the boxes.
Mm-hmm. That's something where, like I said, one of the next meetings would be with the creative director. And all the creative directors for our business really do is they talk about like marketing messaging and how to say the right thing to the right crowd. So it's just a creative meeting we could have after this one.
Bill, is there anything there that we need to follow in terms of branding guidelines?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's easily done on our part.
Yeah, we're accustomed to that. That's no big deal.
We've got a brand style guide that we would share with you.
Sweet. Okay,
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah, we've got plenty of photo assets and some video. I'm not sure really how the audio might work if we start chopping things up.
Well,
But
that's
if
where
we
as
were
a
to
radio
do,
group, we have all the voices in the world to handle that. So don't worry about it. We can definitely lift that part.
if we were to do any kind of web development, I think, there'd probably be a lead time on that in terms of, getting a landing page about omega-3s and listing different things. That would be a bit of a, more timely lift.
But I like that idea, Dan. I like having a page that talks about the omega-3s for sure, because we're going to have more and more things, and about the aging and all the other stuff.
Yeah, they're all good ideas. Yeah.
Bill, could I also ask, because, and I promised somebody I'd ask for them. I mean, what do you folks use, like Salesforce or any of those other platforms? What are you primarily using on your sales side?
We have a few people who have a Salesforce license, and that's it.
Okay.
But it's not, we don't have a general CRM for
Okay.
sales.
Because I'm just thinking way down the road, and I'm sure others are too, you know, if this takes off and goes way, you know, goes beyond what we would expect it to, even expect it to do, you know, how could we eventually integrate some of the data that we're collecting through some of these, either the marketing or through the sales, some of the responses, I guess what I'm saying, into something that you own, okay? So, you know, just kind of a dream out there to shoot for.
Makes sense. What other questions, gentlemen, do you have? Because I just want you guys to feel as comfortable as you can before we part ways, because Bill, I know you're going to turn and talk to others about it. So any question you have, get it out while you got me in. Or remember that if you need us in a secondary meeting, it's never a big deal to just set a follow-up and I can stand there and answer questions for whomever.
Okay. You'll send this deck out right after this call?
Yeah, we'll kick off the deck. I will download the recording and turn it into a YouTube link so it's easy for you guys to access, and we'll kick it over with the deck.
Okay. All right. I don't have any
That's
other
all for me.
questions.
Yeah. Okay. Kevin, Todd, Bob, anything else from you guys, or are we good?
All good here. Good.
Okay. So Bill, how much time, the classic post-pitch question, how much time should we give you while the iron's a bit hot before Bob were to reach out before it cools off a little bit? I know you need your time to talk to others. What do
End
you
of
think?
next week. I'm leaving tomorrow for Galveston. I'll be there through Friday and night late, and then I turn around on Sunday and I'm down with the military for meetings through Thursday of the following week. So I unfortunately am out of the loop for a while. So I've got to get this in front of at least one person, maybe even today. So
Okay.
Bill,
Got
do you
it.
want me
Well,
to stop by? Do you want to stop at a time? I can, you know, I can give you a ring a little bit later. We can set up a time. I can come down for a visit then on that Friday.
Friday afternoon, I'm pretty good. I've got to go to the Make-A-Wish Foundation wish ball that night. So I got to get out of here and do
How does
that.
1:30
But
look for you?
1:30 looks pretty good, but I gotta see if we've got things turned around. We're not gonna have budgeting decisions yet, but I would like to get this done sooner than later. And that would be the 10th. So if we're gonna start this on the 15th, doing
so
something.
I'm glad you said that. So for context, the paid search piece will be live 8 business days after you guys approve a formal build that we would put in front of you, Dan. So from a timeline perspective, and I'm going to make these really easy. If you told us yes today, which you won't, but it's fine. If you told us yes today, it's I'm going to call it the first. It would be probably Friday or Monday of next week that we would have the build for you to approve. And then if you approved it the same day, it would be 8 days from that we would be able to go live. So in that system, if the 10th is when you actually made the decision, the paid search piece probably wouldn't be live until the 20th, give or take, of the month, which is fine, or we could push it to the start of the next month. Everything else could start earlier, but the paid search piece takes a little bit longer to get started.
Paid search wouldn't happen until the 20th if we started right away.
Yeah, I mean, because there's a little bit of back and forth. There's some work that gets done on the back end just to set everything else up right. So yeah, I mean, just to give you some context, if you said pull the trigger, yes, on the 10th, the paid search piece takes about 2 weeks to get started. Everything else can get started once ads or videos are created. It's much quicker.
Could we start just the paid search part right away though, guys, since that budget's kind of already approved and rolling and you just wanted us to take that over while you noodle the rest of those pieces?
Up to you. And there's no
So-
gap in between the two, just so you know, Dan. It's not as if we'd pull you down for 2 weeks and then you'd go up with Town Square. It'd be pretty seamless. We'd have everything set up on our end, then we'd pull down what is happening and we'd start what is about to. So just so you know, there's no gap.
So let me ask a question then. These numbers I'm looking at right here on this page, that doesn't
Yeah.
include what we're doing today on paid search. So you're saying that there's these numbers and then what we're doing on paid search on top of that. Or
Depends upon
the
if
paid search is included in this?
you, as it is now, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, but as it is right now, you're spending about $3,000 on paid search per month in your downtimes for direct consumer acquisition. So we would just take that over. So you would drop that expense and it gets picked up in this plan. So you're not doubling that.
Okay, that's
We're
what
just
I
picking
wanted
that
to
for you.
find out. Okay,
Yeah, and I think if I recall correctly, it ramped up to 5 or 6 during the holiday
Right.
period
Yep.
that we're coming into. Yeah.
Yep. And that's exactly how
Right.
I structured it. 6 on
Right.
the high months, 3 on the low.
Yep.
There's really, just so you know, Bill, there's no actual material change to your spend on SEM. You're just shifting from Dan taking it on to us taking it on. The real increase, quote unquote, in your marketing spend is up here. It really is, you know, what is it, $2,500
It's
a month?
2250. Yeah.
There you go. So $2,200 is the lift you're taking on for your marketing expense with us, and that buys you the Pinterest. It buys you talking to all those tourists, and it buys you following people around that are new that you're not following around now for that $2,250. That's really the increase you're taking.
mm-hmm. For these next couple months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just for November, December.
Okay, yeah, get this over to me and
Sure.
we'll go from there.
Okay, we'll kick the deck. We'll kick the recording over within an hour or so. Bob, you guys figure out if you want to show up that Friday. It may be premature. It's kind of hard to say, but either way, guys, if you have questions, if anything else pops up, hit us back. Just let us know. If we need to set up a follow-up meeting where I can talk about this to other people to take some weight off you, Bill, happy to do it. It's not a big deal. And safe journeys in the armpit of Texas. I don't envy you going down to Galveston. I've spent some time there.
All right. Thanks, guys.
You got it. You guys have a good day.
Thanks, gents.
Enjoy your Halloween. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Take care.
Thanks.
Thank you.